Live from a bunker in the heart of the Ozarks, a podcast who's pretty pleased with their spectacular coterie. It's SiftPop. We've got an extra part of our coterie in the room today, so that works nice. Welcome to SiftPop, streaming live most weekends, or available to download later in your podcast feed. Unless, of course, you're a patron.
Patrons get perks.
Patrons get those perks.
Woo!
I'm your host, Aaron Dicer, and he's my outstanding and operatic co-host, Andrew Ormsby.
Ahoy!
And each week, you didn't even know that was coming. That was really beautiful. And each week, we'll chat about movies, television, and whatever else from the pop culture universe is on our minds. Andrew.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
It is a new season. A new season of SiftPop has begun. We are streaming live video now during the recordings.
The dawn of a new era.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it's been a hot minute since I've been on a YouTube video, so...
Yeah?
Yeah.
You doing okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is fun. This is way laid back. Here's the thing I want to say to you if you're listening to this podcast. You don't have to watch the video to get what we're talking about. We're not creating a video podcast where you have to see images and different things that are going on. This is still an audio podcast with just a little bit.
Look at this thing. Isn't this crazy? This is the craziest thing. I mean, come on.
Andrew, I just said we weren't going to do that.
I mean, out of all the crazy things in the world, this is crazy.
Andrew's playing with the toy bendable snake, just so
that apparently turns back into like this dodecahedron shape sort of thing.
But you don't know how to do that? You don't know how to turn it?
No, I'm not even going to. I'll break it. I swear I'll break it.
So, just to let you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you, and it's cool that you're here, and we're glad you kind of get a look into the environment. This is where we record every single Saturday or close to it for SiftPop. But if you're not, don't feel like you're missing anything necessarily important to the content of the show. That's still all going to be delivered through Mike. In fact, I don't know that I could really do it any different. I have so much radio training that my brain is always thinking, well, what about the person who can't see? So, I think that'll just be a normal part of what we do, but we are glad to do it.
We already had a comment about Spreaker, like that people are wondering, are we going to still do Spreaker live?
Yeah, I don't think we are. I think this is going to be our primary place for live interaction. Now, the show isn't really necessarily an interaction show for the most part. In fact, even when we were live on Spreaker, we took comments few and far between when we felt like they were important or necessary, or, those kind of things.
Otherwise, Aaron doesn't care about you.
No, it's more like if you go see like we say, recorded live in front of a, internet audience. It's more like if you go see a recording of a TV show, it's not like they're taking questions, during the TV show. From the audience. So we treasure your comments, but email them to us if you want them on the show, because that's what we use for SiftQuest, those kind of things. So having said that, we do have a producer in the room now, and he is monitoring your comments. So if you are watching live and you want to shout out to producer Phil and see if he thinks it's important enough to flag us down, like with the Spreaker question.
I just noticed his great Seinfeld t-shirt.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Then please do that. Andrew already gone visual twice in this podcast.
I mean, look at this thing. Look at it. Can you believe it? It's crazy.
Also, this is going to be a twofer day. We haven't done one of these in a while. 2 movies today.
Hot minute.
So that's going to be fun.
It's going to be a busy couple weeks for movies.
Yeah. It
for
really,
a couple months, really.
The summer's going to be busy, and you'll see some more twofers during the summer for sure. In fact, I would like to do a twofer probably next week with Booksmart and Godzilla. So it'll be interesting to see if we can keep up with everything that's coming out.
If we're doing Friday, I might only be able to do one.
Okay.
I'm heads up, a week in advance.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I will also say...
And you know which one I'm going to see.
Yeah, you're not missing Godzilla.
Booksmart. Oh, wait, what?
Well, Booksmart is already out.
Yeah.
Too, as well. So
that's true.
If you do have time, you could maybe see it before that. It did come out this weekend. So,
yeah.
But no pressure. Honestly, no pressure. The other thing I wanted to start off with is the Summer Sum Game. The results are live. You can go to siftpop.com, click on Summer Sum Game, and start to see the results for what's going on. So those
Avengers Endgame's #1?
So
Who knew?
Those will update every time there's a new update on the box office, which is usually daily. Aladdin is already at number 4 with $31 million, and that's just from Thursday. Those are just Thursday's numbers. So you can kind of see it shift and change. There'll be a leaderboard underneath it where you can find yourself in the leaderboard and kind of see how you're doing.
New leaderboard.
And that will update as well as things update. I wouldn't put a lot of stock in the rankings right now because people who have a lot of points now have points for things that probably aren't going to end up where they are. For instance, the person in first place right now has Detective Pikachu in second place for the entire summer, which it may do better than expected, but I don't think it's going to come in second. Sorry about that, Chandler. So you can check out. Also, there's a little button you can click for the gurus that just sorts it by the SiftPop gurus. You'll see a little grouping of people. That's everybody. And then the single person, those are the gurus.
Not even on the list.
You're number 4 right now. You're tied for 4th.
I'm Danae from Radiohead?
No, you.
Oh, up here. Yeah, the words and stuff.
Words and stuff, yeah. In fact, you're tied for 4th with Danae and Jeremy from CinemaSins. And then I'm tied for 9th with Chris from CinemaSins. So, but again, we'll see how that all plays out over the course of the year. But I wanted to let you know your Summer Sum Game picks are live. And by the way, 112 entrants.
Wow.
This year. 112 entrants. So thank you so much for having fun with us in those kind of games.
It's awesome. I'm going to be in 112th place.
There is one person who didn't pick Avengers Endgame at number 1, and they were in 112th place for a second there. But
they're not anymore?
No, because they also have Detective Pikachu on there somewhere. So
I'm curious what they would have had at number 1. Like,
I can tell you.
They had Lion King?
Yeah, they had Lion King at number 1, which I'm not going to lie. There's a world where that happens, especially as much as Endgame has dropped. A whole new world where that happens. I just can't wait for them to be king.
Yeah.
There's a possibility if Avengers Endgame has completely, bottomed out domestically and just stays right there under 800 million.
Yeah.
I mean, in a weird, strange world, Lion King makes over 800 million.
Yeah, so be prepared.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Hakuna Matata.
You know what that means.
Yeah, can you feel the love tonight?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on with the show. Just a reminder, we're going to have some fun. We've got we do have a best ever challenge this week. We've got some buried treasure, and then we've got our twofer. So we're going to be reviewing Brightburn as well as Aladdin. But we like to kick it off with some Do We Care?
Every single week, I scour the internet to find out what is going on in the entertainment world. I pick 3 topics for us to discuss, and we must decide whether we care about them or not. Number 1, John Wick 4, already confirmed 2021.
Yeah, that was confirmed before the movie came out, right? Like, there's no way they were waiting to see how well this movie did before announcing that. They already had to have things in place when it happened. Don't you think?
Probably.
I probably care about this less than most people because I don't like the movies as much as most people. I really like the first one. I just haven't connected with the second or third one very well. But I'm sure for most people, this is a huge yes.
Yeah, I care. I want.
When is it coming out?
2021.
So like 2 years.
Yeah, we got time to get our Wick Jones taken care of.
Yeah. What are you looking most forward to in the next movie?
I want to see John Wick shoot someone.
Well,
I am crossing
Andrew,
my
I hate to tell you this, but your expectations are a little too high.
He's going to be playing Jenga for 2 hours.
John Wick Jenga would be amazing. He would rule at Jenga. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would kill it. Literally.
Yeah.
I'm probably most looking forward to them finding an actual story. That'd be fun for John Wick 4.
Savage. No, I'm right there with you.
Then I'd be back in, man.
Yeah, that's why the first one was so good. Number 2.
Yep.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic has a movie coming out. It is in development, but it is not the D&D, the David Weiss and Benioff, store trilogy.
Yeah, it's really interesting because a few months ago, Star Wars was like, we're taking a break. Sorry, guys, no Star Wars movies for a while.
For 3 years. I mean, that's...
And then they're like, oh, and here's the trilogy that's coming out. Oh, and here's a Knights of the Republic movie that's coming out. It's like,
and here's The Mandalorian.
And well, that's Disney Plus. I think they're meant from movie theaters, but...
Still, that's not taking a break from Star Wars.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm super excited for Star Wars information and new movies, and I'm such a huge Star Wars fan that's always going to be fun for me.
Did you ever play KOTOR?
No. No. Is that what Knights of the Old Republic is commonly known as?
Yeah.
KOTOR?
KOTOR.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've never, I don't even know anything about this property. Is it something I should be very excited? Is this like Jedis being full Jedis?
This is like 3,000 years before A New Hope.
Okay.
This is like, well, Phil, did you ever play Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like 3,000 years before like the main Star Wars story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an extreme prequel.
Yeah. And it's like the big war, if I remember correctly, between the Sith and the Jedi. The Knights of the Old Republic.
So that is appealing to me. The idea that we're going to be seeing Jedis like really going all out being Jedis, because the closest we've got to that was what, Attack of the Clones maybe? Well, I know, but I'm saying like there's the scene in the pit, right? Where there's a whole bunch of Jedis doing their thing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I would love to see, I honestly would love to see the action choreographers from John Wick do Knights of the Old Republic, because that would be so fun. You know what I mean? Like if you can figure out like creative, fun ways to do that, the lightsaber stuff, that's what I want.
This is a weird branch off here, but I just saw on YouTube the other day of this guy who re-edited a part of A New Hope where the Obi-Wan Darth Vader lightsaber fight is actually good.
Yeah.
Instead of, Guinness just... No, they actually show him
Old
like
man
having...
Alec.
Yeah, Old Man Alec just having, mad skills now, and it looked pretty good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I there's a balance though, right?
That's a forced joke.
There's a balance though, because I think the Yoda stuff is a little weird sometimes. It's a little too frantic in the new ones where
It's not like that. It's
well, of course, no, you couldn't do that. But I'm just saying,
it's not Alec Guinness doing triple backflips.
But don't you think it would have been if, you know what I mean? Like if George Lucas had his way?
Oh yeah,
possibly. I don't know. And I think
he had his way with that movie.
I think there's something cool about the idea of as you age as a Jedi, it's almost like pitchers in baseball, right? Like they have this incredible fastball for their first few years, but then they have to get wise. Then they have to get smart. Then they have to figure out how to, throw smarter, not harder. And so I think Jedis would be the same way.
Oh, my arms.
It's like he's testing to see if the meat's done on the grill.
Well, the way I did it in my head as a kid is I'm like, well, Darth Vader's like half robot. He probably can't move around all that well. But then Rogue One came out. And that's like 3 days before, the battle on the Death Star.
He just taken some leave.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Something like that.
Yeah. Number 3?
Yeah, I'm totally excited about Knights of the Old Republic. I think that could be cool.
You should be.
Yeah.
The Lonely Island is talking with Disney right now to bring us a Chippendale Rescue Rangers live action film.
I totally care. I haven't seen the new Lonely Island thing on Netflix. Apparently there's a Lonely Island thing that dropped on Netflix a couple days ago. And I haven't...
On Netflix? Because I saw their new music video on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. But they did drop something on Netflix, and I haven't seen it yet.
Detroit Sunset or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But I those guys are so funny.
You really have to make sure you put Rescue Rangers with that title. Otherwise, it's a completely different movie.
Yes, that is true. That is true. We've already had a couple Magic Mike movies, so
yeah,
we don't necessarily need that.
I call this live action.
What's that?
If this is like what the Sonic movie is going to be, live action mixed with animation, I'm already out.
You nervous about it? You just can't handle that kind of stuff?
I hate that style of movies.
Yeah.
I just really can't get into it. And there's always
spoilers for our Aladdin review.
No, I'm talking like where like the main characters and stuff are like animated, like Sonic or
the genie.
No, I'm talking like
no, I'm
animals.
with you. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know you are, because then I could complain about every single Marvel movie.
Right, totally.
Yeah. But like Paddington or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, those are like the two exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
Other than that, like there was like a guinea pig movie that had actors in it that was horrible, and Sonic looks horrible.
It'll be interesting. Don't you think it'll be interesting to see those brains do that property though? That's how I always look at it. Is like the brains from the Lonely Island doing
Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Disney's. I like that's amazing. Although anything that keeps them from doing Popstar 2, I'm kind of not on board with.
Well, they need to never stop.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's right there in the title.
Yeah.
And you stopped.
They did.
You were supposed to never stop. Never stopping.
That's going to wrap it up for Do We Care.
Very
One
nice.
day I'm actually going to get through that closure line without,
Without me interrupting you.
without me just mumbling over my own words. That's going to wrap it up for Do We Care.
See, there you did it. It's very nice. All right, let's move on to a review of Aladdin. Young Aladdin embarks on a magical adventure after finding a lamp that releases a wisecracking genie. This is Aladdin 2019, and it is very similar to Aladdin 1992. So,
surprise.
surprise. Disney is remaking one of their animated films into, I guess, what we're calling live action. Is there a better term for it? Because it's still, especially once Lion King happens, we need a better term because that's not a live action movie. That's a computer generated movie.
Remake.
Just remake?
Yeah.
And just do like photorealistic remake or something like that.
I
don't know.
felt uncomfortable calling that Chippendale's Rescue Rangers a live action remake.
Yeah. It's really
unless they're really gonna get chipmunks,
Yeah. I will tell you this. It is fascinating. This whole Disney redoing their animated library thing is fascinating to me, and I have a lot of different like mixed feelings on it for sure. It'll be interesting to see how the general audience continues to react to it. But right now, I want to know how you felt, Andrew. Did you like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay?
I'm gonna surprise you here.
Ooh, really?
I liked it.
Nice.
Yeah. I like this movie.
That's very cool.
A lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. In fact, I really liked it. I'm bordering on loved it. I almost pulled the trigger on loved it, but I think I'm going to round out around a BB plus. So I think I have to go with I liked it here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. Can we just talk about the nostalgia thing first? I can't help myself. Like when Never Got a Friend Like Me comes on, or One Step comes on, or One Jump, I think is the name of the song.
One step.
Yeah, there's just something inside of me that just melts. It just melts. It just becomes a big pile of goo, and I just look at the screen with this stupid grin on my face. And nostalgia is real, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it is a real thing. And I don't know how to combat it, and I don't know that I should necessarily try. Like, what I'm realizing is that's okay. Enjoy the nostalgia, enjoy those feelings, and that was definitely throughout this whole movie. I was just like on nostalgia crack.
Nice.
Because I love the original so much, and even more than that, watched it so much at a time in my life that was very. I was young and impressionable. I think I was in high school when that came out. So, it was definitely right in that zone for me. And it means a lot to my wife and I, because Whole New World meant a lot to us as a couple. Like, that was right about when we were starting to get together.
Ride?
We had a magic carpet ride, but not until our wedding night, just so we're clear.
That's not even where I was going. You just ruined Aladdin.
I don't know, man. Listen to the lyrics of A Whole New World. Isn't that just about... Anyways, continue on. Tell me some of your good things before I open my mouth too much.
How did you become the perverted one on this
I don't know.
podcast?
It happens occasionally.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of musicals or live action adaptations of animated movies. But somehow this movie managed to do it in a way to where I actually enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. The dance choreography in this movie is phenomenal. There's no other word for it. And I'm going to jump around a little bit here. I was so nervous about Will Smith being the genie because Robin Williams' genie is like one of the most iconic, famous
impossible to live up
characters.
to. Impossible. No possible way he could live up to that.
But he does a good job. I really like Will Smith's genie in this movie. Like, I was surprised. I thought it was going to come off as campy, cheesy, like an imitation. Now, he makes it his own.
He definitely makes it his own, and he's at his best when he's not in blueface. Like he's at his best when he's not. I didn't mean that to be offensive, by the way. I literally just was trying to think of a way to say it. He's at his best when he's not the cartoony genie. He's at his best when he's Will Smith, right? So I love the fact that he is able to be able to do that.
You killed Phil over
Phil
here
has
with
died.
Blueface.
We've lost our producer.
Yeah. Gosh. But yeah, I was surprised. There's some moral and story arcs that are different in this movie as opposed to the original animated one. I thought I was gonna come away going, I can't believe they changed it.
Right.
But actually, a lot of the things that they changed or added in this movie, I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of wish that was in the animated one.
I had that feeling several times. I'm like, oh, you fixed this.
Yeah.
Like,
And it was stuff I didn't even realize could have been improved, you know? Because I think with a lot of these animated movies, we just kind of have blinders on.
oh, absolutely.
Like, oh, yeah, that was a kid's movie. I watched it as a kid. Good movie.
You know,
But you don't realize, like, oh, man, if they would have changed that movie would have elevated it that much, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to go into specifics necessarily about the changes because I think that is kind of a little bit spoilery. Because those can be fun realizations during the movie to realize that. But I will say, I recently watched this movie with a fine-tooth comb for CinemaSins. I wrote on the Aladdin review for the original Aladdin. And I noticed while watching it that closely, a lot of these things, in so many of them, they fixed. Different character motivations they fixed. Different plot holes they fixed. Different just kind of, I'm just going to say problematic lyrics were changed in this movie, especially Prince Ali. That song has a couple problematic lyrics that were taken out and changed a little bit, which I thought was really great. And there's even something they change in that song specifically where it is, I think I'll just say this one because this isn't one most people are going to recognize necessarily, but in the original song, they talk about Sunday Salam. They say, brush off your Sunday salam or something like that. Well, salam religiously is a Friday event, not a Sunday event. And so they kind of, Americanize the idea of Sunday is when you worship and that kind of thing. But they changed it to Friday salam in this. And I thought that was really neat. That kind of stuff for me, it makes this almost necessary. It makes it kind of valuable to see this story in that way.
Yeah. I appreciate the fact that Jasmine is no longer a one-dimensional character.
For sure, yeah.
She is given so much. It's almost like this could have been a Jasmine movie. You know, and there's new songs in this. I guess we can go ahead and say that. We don't have to get into
there's one new song.
Yeah, I
with a reprise. Yeah.
It might actually be my favorite song of the
It's
entire
so good.
movie. Like, I was like, there's no way it can beat like A Whole New World or anything like that. Just these insanely iconic songs or A Friend Like Me, you know. But I came away going, that might have been probably the most powerful moment of the movie.
I think she is incredible. I like her voice, singing, incredible singing voice, incredible acting performance. I'm going to say Naomi is her name.
Jasmine.
I'm sorry, Jasmine is her name. Producer Phil can look it up so we know for sure we give a shout out to the right actress. But she does great work. I'm really impressed with her, and I'm also impressed with how they updated the original songs. It wasn't distracting, it wasn't over the top, but you could feel it. You know what I mean? Like you could feel a different kind of rhythm and drive to them that was modernized in I thought a really fun and cool way.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the soundtrack.
Naomi Scott.
Naomi Scott is her name. She's incredible.
God,
so
Jasmine.
Pink Power Ranger.
Oh, wow, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I totally did not put two and two together because I kept going, I've seen her in something.
Well, it's understandable. There were no Krispy Kremes as plot devices in this movie. So
true.
So I can see how you would totally miss that.
Okay, there's a part in this movie, and it's just a specific part, doesn't really give anything away. I think this movie was actually rendered in 16:9, like, you know, a regular screen, as opposed to widescreen, because there's a part where the genie, like, adds himself to the audience, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And looks back, but he puts his arm over the black bar to look back at you. kind of because it kind of threw me off. I'm like, oh, he's coming out of the screen.
I've seen other animated movies do that before. Actually, I've seen live action movies do that before too.
Really?
It's an interesting effect, and honestly, movies change aspect ratio through the movie sometimes. I mean,
Like
First
the
Man,
Christopher Nolan, like always, like
Yeah.
he'll have IMAX scenes and stuff.
So, but there are some that have almost distractingly used that technique.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that technique is it does change how you present it on a TV, right? Like you have to decide, do you have the black bars there for the whole movie just for this one effect? Or does it cut to black bars during that scene? And I think the second is probably the option they'll go with, but you just kind of have to figure out how to show it on a TV.
It just depends if you buy like a widescreen version or whatever of the movie. No, I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, we talked about the nostalgia of the soundtrack. I love those things. We talked about Will Smith as Genie, who I thought did a great job.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because it's kind of a sequel to Hitch in a lot of ways.
With him and the handmaid, he can teach guys how to get women, but he can't do it himself.
He's basically teaching Aladdin, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see that character come back in kind of a strange way.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed Will Smith. Any other positives? I have a negative or two.
I do too.
Let's go ahead and get into those.
Jafar was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like Jafar. He's like a different type than, like, he's not a deep voiced, evil man, He's like very soft spoken, but the intensity is definitely still there. I really enjoyed him.
Aladdin's great too.
No, he's not.
No, that's one of your negatives?
That's
cool.
my
Let's have
negative.
this conversation.
Min Assad. Okay. He can dance. He
Okay.
can sing.
Definitely.
He can parkour.
Yes.
He can't act.
Really?
He had like one facial expression through the entire movie, really. It was like I'm Aladdin. Like Jasmine, she's gonna find out I'm a street rat.
He had a charisma face.
Yeah, charisma face the entire movie. Like, Jafar, please don't kill me.
Kind of Aladdin.
I am Ali.
But maybe Aladdin the character is like that.
But in the animated movie, they had him show way more versatility.
I
in
don't
his
agree
face.
with this. I don't agree with this take, but
I gave him about 3 props. I mean, he can't have everything, He can't be handsome, a good dancer, a good singer, and a good actor. Come on.
yeah, no, there's
parkour.
only one Cary Grant. No, who am I? Gene Kelly. Sorry, I meant Gene Kelly. I said Cary Grant. I meant Gene Kelly.
Yeah,
There's only one Gene Kelly.
I was like, one Cary Grant. I'm like, sure. I mean, yeah.
Maybe Fred Astaire, but I would say Fred kind of, used his dancing and singing more than his acting. But Gene Kelly, he was a triple threat all the way. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there.
Justin Timberlake.
There you go.
For the younger audiences.
He's a decent actor.
Yeah.
That's interesting. My main negative is probably Guy Ritchie's fault. I don't like the way this movie messed with speed.
Oh, is Benny Hill running?
Yeah, there's an interesting thing it chooses to do where during some of the songs, they shoot them slow or fast so that then when they do the singing regular speed, it can be in slow motion or fast speed. And it's not even consistent. Like it'll be kind of slow-mo running while singing regular speed at one point, and then at another point, everything looks really sped up. The last dance number in this movie also felt that way, just like really, and you can see it. Like you can see that they're not moving at regular motion, and I don't know. It was more distracting to me, considering I didn't see the point of it. Like I didn't understand what that was supposed to be doing to me as a viewer. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand what he's doing other than like, those are my fingerprints. That's what I do.
That's what he does. And it's only in those moments that I remember, like, oh yeah, Guy Ritchie did this movie. Yeah. Because other than those moments,
maybe that's it. Maybe it's a calling card. It's like, don't forget it was me, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Because other than that, like after I left the movie, like it said directed by Guy Ritchie at the end, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got reminded like 5 times during this movie that Guy Ritchie did it, because so much of it doesn't feel like him. It just feels like Disney,
Yeah.
I was waiting for Brad Pitt to walk out and try and sell Aladdin a dag. He's got to sell him that dag. You like dags? Dags.
It didn't happen in the movie, though.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
You know who was disappointed? This guy.
Anything else?
I do have one more negative.
Yeah, go for it.
So Disney has the most high caliber CGI artist. And
Yeah, we should talk about this. I agree with this.
Why is the CGI in this so bad?
I don't know.
The Raja is like the fakest looking cat in a movie since
Raja's
The Lion and Jumanji.
Well, and it's really weird with Lion King coming out later. Like, they obviously, well, and they've already done Jungle Book, and the Jungle Book creatures look great, right? Like, so I don't understand how you mess up the tiger. Although I will say Raja wasn't the worst part for me. I thought Abu was a mess sometimes.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's part of Guy Ritchie's like motion stuff too. But even the humans when they were CG looked really off. There's moments where they're jumping across rooftops and different things. It's like, oh, that's obviously a CG model.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's so obvious. I don't understand it because it's not in every movie. But yeah, no, I totally agree. And even we should probably address the genie in the room because I know people talked a lot about Will Smith as the genie and the look of the genie.
Yeah.
It didn't totally bother me as much as I thought based on people's conversations from trailers that it would. But at the same time, I definitely preferred him when he wasn't CG. And I think that's because...
when he was in Blueface.
Thanks for bringing that back up.
No
Much appreciated.
I can't let you let something down like that. Because normally you would take me to town if I were
Feel free.
Yeah.
I deserve to be taken to town. Yeah, especially when he was the genie. I felt like it's a little off and it didn't quite feel his full personality. But once he was just Will Smith, I thought he was great.
I didn't mind him in either form, really.
Yeah.
I thought it just worked. I'm like, you know what? I just want to enjoy. I'm not going to nitpick so much.
Sure.
But especially Raja and Abu were like, man.
Abu's face was so weird.
Yeah.
Something really weird.
Why can't you just get a real monkey?
Or make it look like a real monkey at least. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was just, there was something really off about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that.
Those are actually my only two cons for the movie.
Anything else you wanted to mention before we move on?
If you're like me and you're not a fan of these live action remakes, I would actually still recommend this one. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
There's a lot more character development and story arcs in this one. It just made me realize how one note the first Aladdin movie was. And I didn't even notice
how shallow it is.
Yeah.
You know how, yeah, I totally agree.
Basic. It's just the songs were so good, and the genie was this larger than life
Robin
character.
Williams was the pull, right? Like he was
if
just
it wasn't
a
for
genius.
him or the songs, the movie would probably be pretty dumb.
There wouldn't be a movie without him in the songs. It'd be
That's
like
true.
a 10-minute movie. I this is the only other thing I will say. I'm very glad that you enjoyed this. It makes me very happy in a lot of ways because I think that offers more credence to the fact that there might be a good movie here. And I think that's important for people to know because I know my biases and I know I am likely to enjoy things that are nostalgic like this. Having said that, hated Dumbo, right? Like that was a complete miss.
Yeah.
So I am willing to say when something does not work. But I think I gave in during this movie to not feeling bad about loving these quote unquote live action remakes. I think I'm okay with it now. I think I just there's something about a lot of people on Twitter, different places saying, I'm bored of these, I'm tired of these, well, they're just a cash grab, that kind of stuff, that makes me feel like I should, as a movie lover, not like them. And I think I kind of came to peace with it during Aladdin, where it was like, no, I like this stuff. This stuff is great. I'm glad they're doing it.
Here's my pushback on all that. I'm with a lot of these people. I think it is kind of a cash grab. The only difference is...
I don't disagree that it's a cash grab.
Or that they're unnecessary.
Right.
Which I totally agree with. But this one is different and unique and builds upon it so much that I don't know if necessary is the right word, but it's welcomed. for me. Like, oh, see, you're not just doing a scene for scene remake. You're actually adding something here. Like, you loved the Beauty and the Beast live action movie.
I think it did the same things we're talking about that Aladdin does.
I don't. I think that Aladdin adds so much like character.
But if you go back and listen to my comments, you will hear me talk about how Aladdin fleshed out Beauty and the Beast fleshed out backstories, had a new song that I liked. Like there's a lot about what they did in Beauty and the Beast that I think
that was our main difference, because I did not like any of the new songs or any of the portrayals really of the famous songs. Really.
Right. And Cinderella's the same way too. I love the stuff they added to Cinderella.
I still haven't seen Cinderella.
It really fleshes out the Cinderella character and understanding, like it gives her the choice to say, the prince is a person I want to be with or I don't want to be with. Not to spoil the ending of Cinderella, but it is definitely different than the original Cinderella, and it's beautiful. And so, like, there's something about these movies. I do think they're trying, even if they failed with Beauty and the Beast for you, I think they're trying to do something new with them, something interesting.
Do her stepsisters cut off their toes in this live action remake?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to watch it.
Oh, man. Brothers Grimm are weird.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. People don't. I want to see like the live action remakes of the Brothers Grimm version of all these stories, like The Little Mermaid, where when she gets feet, she has to finally put pressure on her,
and her legs crumble.
And her legs, like she says, I can walk, but I'm constantly in pain now. Like, what are these brothers? There's a reason why the word Grimm exists.
That's right. Can you imagine if your last name became a synonym for dark and awful?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that movie was so Ormsby. Ugh.
So Land of Dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So I just say all that to say, it's not that I push back or judge anybody who still feels that way. But I'm at peace now. I'm good for the most part liking this stuff. And that wasn't the case necessarily going into Aladdin. I kind of felt guilty about it. And like I had to explain myself. And I don't know that I have to do that anymore. I'm enjoying these.
You live your truth, Aaron.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, you ready to move on to the next Brothers Grimm?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, if Brothers Grimm wrote Superman...
This might be what it would end up like.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at Brightburn. What if a child from another world crash landed on Earth, but instead of becoming a hero to mankind, he proved to be something far more sinister?
Dun, dun, dun.
With Brightburn, the visionary filmmaker of Guardians of the Galaxy and Slither presents a startling, subversive take on a radical new genre, superhero horror. As if superhero horror hasn't been done before. I mean, come on.
Not this literally.
Every horror movie is supernatural. Like, I don't understand this distinction between you know what I'm saying?
I think that the distinction here is this is so painfully obvious that it's Superman.
I mean, that's fair, yeah.
Whereas others can be a little bit more subtle.
So it's just the context of where it comes from.
Yeah, and I think that this movie really relies on the audience knowing the Superman story. Like, if you just want to see a movie, what if Superman was bad and then they just turned it into a straight up horror film, with very little concept story-wise, you just want to see a gory, evil Superman, this is your movie. I
think it's very obvious to me that this is a tagline, or not a tagline movie, but an elevator pitch movie. This is one of those movies that gets made because
what if Superman was bad?
Yeah, what if it was naughty Superman? Yeah. And then go. So did you like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay?
It was okay.
Yeah, I'm probably more in the disliked it category here.
I was disappointed, I guess I could say.
You had good expectations for this.
I really did, because
talk about that.
The concept itself is so cool. What if Superman as a kid in Smallville was bad? I mean, they can't call them the Kents. They can't call it Smallville,
Right.
They can't call him Clark, It's Brandon Breyer, as opposed to Clark Kent,
Right. Still got the alliteration.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, still got the alliteration and all that stuff. But I was wanting so much, like, I never saw why he became bad.
Mm-hmm.
He was just bad always. I wanted to see like regular teen stuff, like if this is a hormonal thing, you know, like teens going through puberty and like this is just a kid throwing a temper tantrum as, you know, kids going through puberty do. But if you were basically a god throwing a temper tantrum, what could people do to stop you?
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be, I'm totally with you. I wanted this movie to be more of an authentic look at the possibility of how to handle Superman or a Superman type being during the pre-adolescence, adolescence years. I am a father of 4 boys, all of whom are now teenagers.
I thought you were going to say all of them are superheroes.
All of whom have superpowers.
Yeah.
I know what this is like.
Eat your entire refrigerator in a day.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
There's 7 gallons of milk a week, man.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to raise boys through that time. I have an idea of what it would be like if they had super strength or heat vision or could fly, like how that changes the dynamic, the power dynamic of parent-child, right? In what that would look like. This movie was only vaguely interested in that. It was much more interested in the horror slash I don't know,
brutality.
Yeah, the element of, ooh, what would that look like? More than what would that feel like? What would that, you know, how would those reactions be? And that's disappointing. It's not interesting to me because again, it turns it into every other horror movie. You know, it turns it into a slasher movie or a body horror movie.
Yeah. This movie is shot pretty well, though. I think if you're a fan of horror, like the way the camera movements, you know, and the way this movie plays with shadows and stuff like that, I think it actually, you know, hits the mark there. I think that you can definitely see that these guys know what they're doing when it comes to like suspense, because I was, you know, unsettled for pretty much the entire movie. That could also be a con that this movie is pretty one note, you know, it's just spooky, the entire thing. Like there's no sense of like this kid could have ever been Superman, you know. Yes, he has the power, but I never saw like anybody who wanted to be good, you know. It was always like he's just evil. He's always evil. He's always been evil.
Well, and boy, I'm not sure if this is a spoiler or not. Maybe I'm going to hold on to most of this, but I'll just say it this way. The reason that he does bad things is so unfortunate because it robs the character of actual humanity and authenticity.
Yeah.
This isn't, let me see if I can say it this way. This isn't what if Superman threw a temper tantrum. This is what if Superman were a sociopath. Those are 2 very different things. One of them is interesting. One of them is not to me. You understand what I'm saying? And it was definitely the second. So I found that uninteresting, and you know, and the gore is just the gore. I'm not a fan. Yeah. Like it's I've had to watch 2 different movies do eye trauma in the last week, a week and a half.
What was the other one?
John Wick.
Oh yeah.
So like direct, you know, don't blink eye trauma.
Yeah. Or Clegane Bowl.
Yeah, it was okay. 3 things in the last 2 weeks.
I will say this though, Elizabeth Banks firing on all cylinders.
She's great. No, she's great. She's the best thing about the movie, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. David Denman, is that how you say his name?
Which one is? I mean,
the husband. Yeah, David Denman, who played. He was a Rory on The Office or whatever. Yeah, he was pretty good. The kid though, like I said, just one dimensional.
Yeah,
like,
very one note.
Yeah,
and that's not an acting comment necessarily on the child.
It's just what they were.
That's a character comment. That's a comment on how they drew this character.
Mm-hmm.
And and the other thing about it is it's so very. And this can work, but it doesn't here. It's so very simple. There's nothing interesting about how this movie progresses. You get it from the first second, and it never varies till the end of the movie.
Yep.
And if you want to have a simple, straightforward story, that's fine, but you better make other things interesting. You better make other choices interesting. And if the plot's not going to be fascinating or interesting or give me something to think about, you better make the character choices interesting and give me something to think about. You better make the camera choices interesting or give me something to think about. And I never felt that here.
This is what it is. It's not the Daenerys we wanted. It's the Daenerys we got. Just straight up evil out of nowhere for no reason, as opposed to someone who thinks they're doing good, but they're actually not. Like, if they would have shown that story of him using his powers, and he killed a whole bunch of people, but he thought he was doing it for a good reason, there would have been some conflict there that, you could have kind of latched onto. There's no morality that you see being struggled with here. It's just, I can do it.
Very little, at least.
Who's going to stop me?
There is some, how much do you love your child morality that the movie tries to put in there?
I'm talking more along the lines of from Brandon's perspective.
Sure. Yeah. It's, man, and what's really frustrating is there are, well, there's two of them. They're basically the same exact moment, same exact scene, and I won't spoil them here. But there's two moments that I think could have been so powerful if the movie had chose a more authentic route to go. And they just aren't. They're just a big nothing because of the way this movie decided to paint things. One of them happens in the forest towards the end of the movie, and the other happens in the barn towards the end of the movie. Yep. It's basically the same moment.
I knew exactly twice. Whenever you started talking, I knew exactly the same two moments you were talking about.
How powerful could that have been in the right hands? But because we've already established certain things about this character, it doesn't even. It really just doesn't even mean anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just an unfortunate foundation, right? Like that's one of the worst things in a movie where the concept could have been something, but you just decided, like, you made a primary choice that impacts the rest of the movie in a way that I'm just not on board for.
Yeah. I think the script was Superman bad now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no,
and not just bad, evil.
Yeah, evil.
Right.
Yeah. It's disappointing. I really did have high hopes for this movie.
Well, and it's also the thing where it's like you're just doing a supervillain movie. You're not doing a superhero grappling with morality and making some wrong choices.
No.
You're in eventually becoming a villain. You're just doing a supervillain. You know what I mean? You understand the difference?
Yeah.
It's not an origin story. It's just a basic story.
It's funny because it's pretty much your basic superhero villain. It's like, they're bad. Why? Because they're bad. Oh, I gotcha.
But why? Because they're bad.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah.
I mean, didn't you see they were bad?
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, that's all I got to say. Since it's so one-dimensional, can't.
No, there's not a lot else to talk about. We talked about the gore a little bit. I mean, it's a quick watch, at least. It's
short.
It's a very short movie.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Actually, they could have added, a half hour of actual story conflict and stuff, and it would have been a good movie.
I'm also going to say this. I really do have a lot of problems. I've already mentioned some of them without spoiling about the origin of the psychosis in this movie. I also have a problem about with the origin story because it is so sudden and delayed. There's really not even any time for progressive understanding of what's going on, because what's going on and what's driving the plot of the story doesn't even happen until a certain moment. You know what I mean? So again, without trying not to spoil anything.
I think I know what you're talking about. So
and we'll do a Sif spoil for Brightburn, for sure. Yeah. So we'll be able to explain a little bit more in that, but it's not a recommend for me. I can't. If you're a horror fan, like a horror completist, maybe if you like gore, you want to see some gore or something like that. There's certainly that here. But I can't. I don't know a lot of people who would enjoy this.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because this would have been a movie I would have loved to have championed.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they totally nailed Brightburn. They found out how to make a conflicted story about Smallville where it didn't work out the way we wanted to. You saw the truth, justice, and American way light be snuffed out.
Mm-hmm.
It was just never there.
No, it never was. What were the odds coming into an episode where we review Aladdin and Brightburn that you would like Aladdin more than Brightburn?
Yeah, I mean,
They weren't great. That's all I'm saying.
2019, man.
They
Throwing
weren't-
me for a loop.
They were not great. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. You got anything else to say?
No.
All right, let's just go ahead and move on. We're going to do our best ever challenge now. We're going to do best ever movies with a blue character. Best ever movies that feature a blue character.
Dubbity dubba die.
So let's go number 5 to number 1. We'll do some honorable mentions as well. And if you want to check out the SiftPop.com list from our contributors, you can check that out as well. What do you have at number 5?
X2, X-Men United.
Nice.
Yep.
That's in my honorable mentions.
Nice.
Lots of blue characters in the X-Men universe.
Mystique, Nightcrawler,
Mhm.
Beast, but Beast isn't in X2.
Now, is this representing the entire X-Men series for you, or do you have the movies split out and mentioning some others?
I will say this, for every single like cinematic universe or sequel, I just narrowed it down to my favorite of
I think
that
that's
one.
we've done that before. I think that's
Yeah.
a great way to do it. So I didn't have any others listed as well.
Oh, really? I thought you would have had a different X-Men movie higher up. First Class, because I know you love First Class.
I do love First Class. I really like X2 though.
Yeah.
Um,
It's my favorite out of all the X-Men movies.
It might be mine as well. It would be close.
Yeah.
It would be close. First Class is really good. I do
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Your number 5?
My number 5 is Monsters Inc.
Yeah, it was in my honorable mention.
Sully. Sully.
Oh,
Not only does he
Sully
land planes
Sullivan.
in the Hudson River, he helps children.
You know, it has been, I think I've only seen that movie like once or twice.
Oh, it's so good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you're talking to the Pixar fanatics, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. 60% of my top 5 is Pixar movies. So
I get it. I totally get it. I got more.
yeah,
I got more.
I know.
Yeah.
We agree on one of them, probably really high up. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love Monsters Inc. I think it's perfect voice casting. I think it's a perfect story. It's such a beautiful idea that we power children more by laughter than by screams. It's a beautiful idea, not only about parenting, but in entertainment as well. The idea that you can inspire, through positivity and not negativity. I just love everything about Monsters Inc. It's so wonderful.
Yeah. Number 4.
Yep.
Lion King.
Oh, tell me, who's the blue character in Lion King?
Zazu.
All right, I'll give it to you. Good
Well,
choice.
hopefully, because he's blue.
Well, he's not completely blue, but I'd say he's at least 80% blue, so that'll count.
Okay. Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
I noticed something because I was re-listening to a podcast we did a long time ago, and we were talking
Why would
about,
you do that?
I listened in case, Phil drops the ball and messes up. Luckily, he's never let me down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I let myself down because we were talking about Lion King and how it was originally Shakespeare,
Uh-huh.
but we said that it was Macbeth and not Hamlet.
Oh, it's Hamlet for sure.
It's Hamlet, but we
How
kept
dare
saying,
us.
but we kept saying Macbeth.
Yeah, we make mistakes, man.
Yeah, it's Hamlet.
Yeah, we've made some doozies of mistakes. It just happens.
Yeah. So we're human.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Your number 4?
My number 4 is Fifth Element.
That was honorable mention. Diva.
It's my favorite scene in the movie too. Diva
Plavaguna.
Plavaguna or whatever it is. I love that song, that opera that she's doing, where her voice is just like, it's almost like human auto tune.
Yeah.
It's incredible stuff, and it's all happening during this action scene. And yeah,
And Chris Tucker dancing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is a movie I definitely dig. So Fifth Element.
Number 3?
Yep.
Infinity War.
Oh,
Nebula.
yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, so it's not on my list.
Thanos used to be blue, but he's purple now. Like, watch the first Avengers movie in that
Yeah,
post-credit
with
scene.
the post credits, yeah, totally.
He's blue. And then he's blue in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
But he slowly turns purple-ish pink.
nice.
Yeah. But no, it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah,
So,
good choice.
yeah.
Good choice. My number 3 is Avatar.
nice.
They got blue people in that.
Honorable, you're just taking my entire list so far is your honorable, or my honorable mentions is your
Nice.
list.
Nice. Well, at least you like them enough to have them as honorable mentions. A lot of people wouldn't give Avatar that credit. I really like Avatar. It's in
You
my
and I
top
do.
100 movies of all time.
No, it's not in mine, but it's a good movie.
There's a reason it made so much money. It's incredible to watch. It's so much fun.
It was a movie made for 3D, and I think we've talked about this 1,000 times, but movies that are made for 3D as opposed to movies that
Just use it as a gimmick.
No,
Yeah.
as opposed to post.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
3D.
totally.
Like it was actually shot. James Cameron's like, you know what? He came back up from the Marianas Trench and he told everybody, we're doing this, and it's meant to be 3D.
I cannot wait for the Avatar sequels. James Cameron's brain remains one of the treasures of the universe as far as I'm concerned. The way he uses technology to tell stories is stunning to me.
I just remember that Future Man episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Number two.
Number two.
This is probably where you're going to be like, what? This was my number one, Finding Nemo.
Yeah, that is my number one.
Yeah,
We can go ahead and talk about it now since we've only got a couple left.
Okay. Yeah. Dory is lovable. This is my favorite Pixar movie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mine as well.
yeah.
That's why it's my number one.
Nice. But what's your number two?
My number two is another Pixar movie,
Oh.
Inside Out. Because of
yeah.
sadness.
Sadness is blue.
Yeah, I think this may be Pixar's most intelligent movie, Inside Out. It is absolutely astonishing, the psychological ideas that they're dealing with in this family movie. And there are moments in it that to this day just give me pure joy. There are moments in it that give me pure sadness. There are moments in it, and the understanding that is the point of the movie as well. It's just, it works on this beautiful, bold, literal level, and it works on this beautiful, subtle meta level. That, man, I love Inside Out.
Nice.
It's one of my faves. What's your number one?
Return to the Jedi.
Oh, are you counting the keyboard player?
Yeah,
guy?
Max Rebo. Well, here's
Hey,
the
he's
thing.
in there.
Here's the thing. I would have picked Empire Strikes Back, but I watched the movie. Not a single blue person in it.
Did you watch Empire Strikes Back for this? That's hilarious.
I also watched it because it's Empire Strikes Back.
Well, that's true as well.
Yeah, but yeah, no blue people. So I had to pick my second favorite Star Wars movie, and that's Return to the Jedi.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good choice.
Thanks, Max. You're great.
Honorable mentions. You got any left that I didn't steal?
The original Aladdin.
Yeah.
Watchmen.
Okay. I wouldn't pick
For
that.
Dr. Manhattan.
Are you excited
You know
about the
what,
Watchmen TV series?
Kinda, yeah. Just
Are you
'cause
tentative at all?
Tentative.
Okay.
That's a
I
good
love
way of
Damon
putting it.
Lindelof, so I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah.
But
This movie is actually kind of growing on me. It's still the worst scored movie of all time. Like the music is so wrong for every single scene.
I can't wait to hear.
But yeah, actually, I think that Snyder is just visually he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But story wise,
deny that.
Yeah. Yeah. Muppet Christmas Carol.
I had the Muppet movie from that
Yeah.
franchise. That's my favorite Muppet movie.
Yeah, Gonzo.
Yep.
He's blue. Yeah, that's the only other one I had.
I also had listed Bug's Life, another Pixar.
Oh yeah.
I enjoy Hellboy, the original.
Oh yeah, Abraham.
Willy Wonka. It's got the Blueberry Girl.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch. I enjoy enough to throw in an honorable mention.
I just can't remember much about that movie. I saw like when
It's
did
not.
It...
It's not super great, but it's definitely enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. So that was my choice from the
for
because it
Marvel.
more features her, I guess, in my brain than the Avengers movies do. But if I had thought about more, I guess I would have picked
and Yondu's blue.
Infinity War. Yondu is blue. That is true as well.
Yep.
And Megamind I threw in there.
I haven't seen it.
It's good enough. It's
Is
good
it
enough.
Pixar or is it DreamWorks?
No, it's either DreamWorks or Sony.
Okay.
I'm not even sure. So there you go. Those are my honorable mentions. You can let us know what we missed or offer up your suggestion for a best ever challenge at feedback@siftpop.com. Also, feel free to send us a Sift quest where we go on a quest that you send us on through email, feedback@siftpop.com. That's where you can ask us questions, get feedback, all that kind of fun stuff. Before we hit our buried treasure, just a reminder that you can support us through Patreon. SiftPop members get a lot of fun perks. Starts at $3 a month. And that is at patreon.com/SiftPop, SiftPop. We honestly couldn't do all the things that we're doing without you. The fact that we're launching this show on video now would not happen without our SiftPop members. Thank you so much for making this possible. Honestly, so much of what we have put together to be able to do this show like this, different things, has come because you support on a monthly basis. Like I said, it starts at $3 a month. Some really fun perks, including a bonus episode every week that we get a chance to do it. You can have that come to your own personal podcast feed. So that's a lot of fun. And then we also do a monthly video hangout that you can join in on as well. So again, that is at Patreon, patreon.com/SiftPop. And thank you very much for your support. All right, let's finish it off with some buried treasure, Andrew.
I'll let you go first this time.
That one thing in any area of pop culture that you want people to know about. I'm going to go with a Netflix show that's been out about a month, but I just finally got a chance to watch it. It's called I Think You Should Leave. This is a sketch comedy show, and it is hilarious.
Really?
Yeah. There are 6 episodes, and they're each like 15 to 17 minutes long. So basically, you could watch the entire season in less time than it takes to watch a movie, or basically the same amount of time it would take to watch a feature-length film. And it is hilarious. Lots of great cameos and different people. You know, Will Forte pops up at one point.
It's I Think You Should Leave, presented by somebody, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen this because at first I thought that he was John Turturro. He kind of looks like John Turturro a little bit.
It's Tim Robinson is the comedian's name, and he is hilarious.
Okay.
Lots of SNL actors pop in on it. Some different fun things, but these sketches, man, his sense of humor. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the first little intro sketch.
Sketches?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Non-linear. I mean, maybe occasionally there'll be a callback or something like that, but for the most part, they're just non-linear sketches.
Sweet.
I could just list off the ones that I love because there are at least 5 or 6 of them that I just thought were hilarious. I will also say this is TVMA, so understand it's basically Saturday Night Live, but pre-produced and with swears. So the thing opens with an interview sketch where he's being interviewed, and you can tell he's got that interview energy where he really wants this job. He's trying to impress the guy and give the right answers or whatever. And then he goes to leave the diner that they're doing the interview in, and he tries to pull instead of push the door. And it's not a pull door, it's a push door. And the interviewer's like, "Oh, looks like it's a push." And he's still in that interview energy where he has to be right and can't get it wrong or whatever. And so he's like, "No, it does both. I came in here earlier, and it can do both or whatever." And then the last 30 to 45 seconds of the movie are him just slowly breaking the door as he pulls it open and exits. It is so hilarious and beautifully done. And that's the very first sketch of the very first episode, and then it just goes from there. And it's just like,
oh, that's great.
Yeah, no, it's fun, interesting stuff. And so I wanted to make sure people know about it. So I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson is the name of the show. Nice. And it is on Netflix. What do you got for yours?
Well, my show is probably just as funny as yours.
Okay, cool.
Chernobyl. This is just happy time frolics from beginning to end.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a heavy show?
Yeah.
Wow. There's 3 out of the 5 episodes. It's miniseries on HBO. I just checked on IMDb, and if you give any levity or gravity to this at all, it's now the #1 rated show of all time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
I feel like I have to watch this.
It is one of the best miniseries I've ever seen. Besides Generation Kill, which also an HBO miniseries, it might be the best I've ever seen. It is eye-opening. You were alive during Chernobyl. It happened, I think, a couple months before I was born, but obviously the after effects are, with us to this day.
Mm-hmm.
The elephant's foot, which is like the core of Chernobyl, they say won't stop giving out radiation. I think the half-life was 25,000 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're messing with some dangerous stuff with nuclear energy.
Yep. And just the level of, horror that the show is willing to show you with like what radiation does to the human body.
Ooh, really? I don't know if I want that.
It's horrifying, but it's so important at the same time because it's showing not only like what it does, but people seeing what it does and then willing to do that to themselves to save the planet, pretty much. So like, if you guys don't get this under control, then the planet is pretty much doomed, or at least, the Eastern Asia, Europe, and they're like, yeah, that's going to be us, but we got to do it. So it's seeing people brave this horror in order to, try and save.
The only thing is I know it's not based on actual stuff that's not true because I was 11 at the time, and people don't know this, but I have superpowers, and I had just gone through a bad time in my life, and I actually went over there and did Chernobyl.
Aaron, you're so rude.
I Brightburned Chernobyl, and I apologize for that.
Fun little fact, Chernobyl means dark entity. And
wow.
And I think Chernobog is a god in Slavic mythology.
And also one of the Grimm brothers, I hear. So.
Yes. In is it Fantasia, the Disney movie?
Yeah.
Like the devil guy who was like throwing stuff down on the evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Chernobog.
Oh, interesting.
So it was like, so maybe there's something
Why would
there.
you name the city after that?
I think it's like dark grass or dark land or something like that is what it means.
Wow.
Yeah, Cherno, I think, is
Wait, is
dark.
it's not this. They named the power plant after that, right? Or is there a Chernobyl city?
Chernobyl was, I guess, the nickname of the plant.
Okay.
And I can't pronounce the actual city that it was in.
Okay.
I do have one gripe about this show.
Oh, yeah. Lay it on me.
I'm tired of shows where they're like, it takes place in Russia or it takes place in, Germany. Let's get a bunch of British actors, and ask them not to change their accent at all.
Yeah.
So you have these, oh, dang, we got us a giant problem over there in Chernobyl, very posh.
Uh-huh.
And then every now and then you'll have one guy come in and he'll be like, hey, look, we must take care of this Chernobyl incident. Yes, I totally agree, old chap, That's my one con with this show.
Uh-huh.
But as far as, like, acting performances go, people are on their game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Stellan Skarsgård, the daddy Skarsgård.
Yeah.
And he's crazy good in this movie. I call it a movie because it's, like, pretty much a 5-hour
Sure.
movie.
No, I totally get that. So it's got a little bit of the death of Stalin problem.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is not a problem in the death of Stalin because it's part of the comedy. But...
Exactly. It felt very Monty Python, even though a lot of the people were Monty Python.
That's true.
But I can't recommend it enough. There's a reason why people have it at number one, because the cinematography might be the best I've ever seen in any show ever.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to check it out. I've heard way too many good things from way too many people that I trust that, I will
say this, don't binge it. It's too heavy to binge.
Oh, don't binge it. Yeah. I thought you said bench it. It's too heavy to bench. I was like, are you benching TV shows now? Is this your workout? Because I didn't even know you could do this.
I'm benching graphite and it's burning my hands.
I totally benched Chernobyl. I can totally handle it.
Yeah.
Buff.
Is HBO that way? I think I saw HBO over there. No.
We did it, man. We did a podcast.
Yeah, we did.
A live video podcast.
Oh, man.
How was that?
I should have brushed my teeth.
Yeah, it probably came through on the video, I'm sure.
Probably. I probably just got a giant piece of broccoli there or something.
Yeah. For sure.
And you never told me.
No, why would I? Thanks so much for joining us today for SiftPop. It is part of the Studio DNA Podcast Network. You can find out more about other shows on the network at studiodna.media, or you can search Studio DNA in your podcast player. Huge thanks to Andrew for hanging out again today.
Hey.
Andrew can be found at Flick Freaks all over the social medias. You can find me at Aaron Dicer on the social medias, and you can find SiftPop at SiftPop on the social medias. Imagine that. Much love and gratitude to our supporters for giving monthly to make SiftPop a real thing. Membership starts at $3 a month, and you get access to every bonus episode, as well as some fun other perks, including a monthly video hangout. Also, your support directly helping SiftPop expand in 2019 to some fun new areas like live video. Imagine that. Find out more information at patreon.com/SiftPop. Lots of ways to connect with the podcast. You can leave a comment, rate, leave a review at Apple Podcasts, throw some stars our way. We'd appreciate it. Or you can email us feedback@siftpop.com. And finally, if you're having a good time, your movie-loving friends will probably like it too. So let them know about it and that listening is much easier than overpowering your super-powered toddler. We'll be doing some spoiler chats for at least Brightburn up next in your podcast feed. And then next week, I think we're going to try to do another twofer, do some Booksmart and some Godzilla.
Yup.
So we'll see you then. All right. Check in on the live audience, see how everybody's doing.
So how are we going to do this post spoiler cast?
Danny says, I once benched 4 seasons of Friends on each arm. That's funny.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Let's.
Somebody
If
might
somebody
jump
can
in.
just jump into it and not realize it because it's not titled spoilers, those kind of things. So I think we're going to let you go for the live video right here, right now. Thank you so much for being with us through this first official live SiftPop. We will see how this develops as far as what these are going to be like, but we're going to try to do these pretty much every week. We won't be on next week because we have some scheduling conflicts, but we'll be back the week after that. And at least I think, as far as I know, at least for the next 6 or 7 weeks, I'm around. So we'll be doing this more consistently. And thanks to producer Phil for making it happen and being in the room with us. That's amazing. Thank you, chat. Thank you for hanging out. Looks like we had about 10 people hang out with us live throughout. So thank you for that. And Austin says, listen to this. Austin says, I'd highly recommend becoming a patron. One of my favorite perks is being able to hang out with Aaron monthly and text Aaron for movie recommendations.
Aw.
So Austin, thank you. I appreciate that shout out for members. If you want to be a member, we'd obviously really appreciate it. So thanks guys. We're going to let you go now. Bye.
Bye.